Welcome to Pocket Woman Lockpicking and Lock Sport. Today we're going to explore this Abus Discus 24RK stainless steel, heavy as, made in Germany. So it's one of the older ones. Scored this from SE Lock and Key. Thank you very much, mate, in my winnings parcel. This has been fun to try and pick and fun to explore. So, this is a disassemble one. You can take the core out. I'm going to show you how to do that. Get a firm bit of metal, whether it's a tension wrench or anything. Now on this side there's a lever, on this side's a lever. Don't worry about this one. This is the one we need to depress. There's a spring in here. So you go in here, holding things firmly. Just sliding it in. You feel a click or hear a click. As that lever gets depressed. The face comes out, the core comes out. These are two separate components. You just remove the core as per normal. That's the back of the face plate, the housing also for the lock, and that's where the little holding levers are. So I'm going to see if I can show you where they are here. That's one of them. That's what you're pushing in. And then on this side, there's a little something there that doesn't move. So up in there, I'm not sure if you can see it. There's a spring. So you're coming down on the face of that lever. At that point there. So you're coming down, pushing that in. So that's all you're doing. And to put it back in, it's just the reverse of the process. It has to be opened because you see your orientation with that cutout there and that cutout there on the core. And that goes in like so. Just fit it in nicely, and then this goes over the top. Depress again, push it in, take out your tool. So what I want to do next is actually have a look at these pins, do a little bit of comparison, find out why this was so difficult to pick. So let's get into that bit. Now I do have some other pins and springs out because I would like to show you the comparison of the size. So I'm going to try not to lock this up. So putting the tension wrench in, giving it a bit of a hold until the front, it's got that little bit cut out of there. Now this does go in a certain orientation, this circlip. It has a flat face on that side. Comes off quite easily, but there you can see that flat. So it does need to go back in a certain orientation. Drop that down. Whoa, we nearly locked it up again. Okay, as per always, shim it. Shimming it. Following it. Now, none of your followers will actually do that groove. So you just sit it out there and use your shim bridge that gap. There we go. Take out that. Always colour my followers so I know which is the front of the lock in case I lose my orientation. And there you have the core. Tiny little pins. Let's take a look. Now I have had all of these out. I have cleaned them up. They were quite gummied. There's nothing in the core. No milling, no threading. Let's orientate these pins. Now, with these pins, they're very small. And I also want to show you the size of the springs and the security pins. So the first pin is a spool. Second is a spool. Third is a spool. Fourth is a spool. And the last one is a standard. Now these pins, springs, they don't really want to come out. These also were pretty gummed up. So you're just going to have to give them a hand to get out. And there's still crud coming out of the lock even after I've cleaned it. I didn't have my, not in the lock labs, I didn't have my little pipe cleaners to get in there and clean that inside of those chambers. Okay, there we have that. Let me show you this. Have a look at these. They are tiny as. These are very, very small spools and very small springs. Size comparison, these are your standard size. So that's the smallest spool you could get. This is like a barrel spool. That's your standard spool you'd find in locks, and that's your standard size pin. These are two different kinds of standard springs, and you can see how small this little fellow is to them. So that spool there, that spring there is for the 7240s, and that other spring is for a standard kind of lock that standard spring that you'd find in a little replacement kit. So they're very small. See the size difference there, the thickness of that barrel and that spool compared to those, there's quite a difference. Don't have my calipers on me. But yeah, tiny little springs. A tiny lock all round, but a lot of fun to play with. Thank you very much to SE Lock and Key for sending it to me. Now to put it back together, you just reverse the process, and you can, when you do, so you've got the lock back together. Your orientation is set out in the housing. So it just goes like that, and that cutout goes in there like that. Remember, everything is upside down in this lock. Just fits in like that. Put your cap over the top. Press that lever. And it clips back in, reverse, and your lock is in place. That is the Discus 24RK. Any questions, any comments? Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay legal. Temptation is everywhere.